What is up, everybody? It's your boy Doody back again with another video, and this time we're taking a look at our boy DSP's daily rap video from last night after the whole LTG drama and also the StreetFighter playthrough with viewers, which was it went as good as you would expect it. Of course, Phil got bodied by a couple scrubs. He spent most of the night playing a bunch of silvers and coppers and gold players, which was just utter garbage. But the big thing was he spent most of the night begging for tips and support. And if you guys watch my video that I just posted about WWE Champions, where our boy Phil wasted $1,100 recently, now you know why the begging has significantly increased. So let's see what Phil has to say on this video.
Darn good. And then also the fact that there was a follow-up on the whole low tier god situation, where he had actually DM'd me on Xter, Twitter, whatever it's called now, I have no idea. And I gotten some supplemental information from other people regarding some stuff that answered some of the questions that we had talked about yesterday on the podcast. So, lengthy podcast, in-depth podcast. People liked the podcast. Give it a look if you want to hear about either of those topics. First stream today was Final Fantasy 16. And, as par for the course with this game, the entire first 90 plus minutes was boring as shit. 3 completely non-needed side quests, which aren't side quests because they're meant for the main story. They're required to do them for the main story, but they're incredibly boring. They had absolutely nothing, and we're literally just time wasters. Go to a town. Oh no, we're under attack by corrupted animals. Go kill the animals. Go to another place. Oh no, 2 groups are arguing about what to do about the corrupted animals. So you got to do little mini things, and then finally you just go fight them anyway, and then it's over. And it takes 90 minutes to get through this. Garbage content, bad content, padding the game, waste of time. Then we got to a story mission. Story mission was all right, story-wise. Problem was, at this point now, and I mean it, the combat now is just boring and secondary to anything. Like, it doesn't mean anything. The combat is not challenging. The combat is not engaging. The combat is ridiculously boring. Even using the new icon that I have now, Bahamut, even that's boring. Like, there's really nothing interesting about this combat anymore. At this part of the game, it's just wash, rinse, repeat, go in a circle, doing your different icon abilities, pump out this move, combo, pump out this move, combo, pump out this move, combo, pump out this move, combo. Oh, ultra, or ultimate, whatever it's called. Use it. Do. Okay, back. And you just keep doing it in a loop. And you barely have to dodge. Maybe in a big boss fight, you have to dodge a little bit, not that much. Half the time, you can't even tell what's going on because there's so many effects on the screen. It's terrible. It's actually the worst combat of any Final Fantasy I've ever played. And that includes Mystic Quest on the SNES. So...
Okay, so Phil just went off about Final Fantasy, which he's been doing the last recent playthroughs, and most of that is triggered by the lack of support on the streams. I mean, it's obvious. We know it's that. Phil mentions it every time he starts ranting and raving about Final Fantasy. He talks about his viewers don't really care for it, they're not supporting, and so on. So, you know, if he were lucky and ended up going on a streak where, you know, support was great, he would again love the stream. Now again, Phil's to blame for this. Phil continuously complains about how easy the combat is. Maybe if you didn't play the game on easy mode, you would have a challenge. Now, why do you say it's easy mode? There are 2 modes in the game: story mode, action mode. Phil decided to play story mode, and if you guys watched in my previous video, story mode is essentially easy mode. Action mode is the normal difficulty that the developers wanted people to play on, and he refused. He went with story mode, and that's why combat is god awful and boring, as Phil likes to say. So the little fun fact here that Phil won't tell you is that you can actually switch between story mode and action mode during your playthrough. You won't lose anything, nothing will happen, you don't have to restart, none of that. It just makes the game at that point more difficult. But of course, the little dirty secret is Phil doesn't want that. Phil wants his games to be easy, essentially walking simulators, and bring in tons of support. And the problem here is that it meets 2 of the 3 criterias. It's a walking simulator, it's easy, which Phil loves, but the problem is support is just not there for the game. And if support was there, Phil would be singing a totally different tune on this game.
Yeah, There was story advancement by the end of the stream. We did actually advance the plot significantly, which is good. And now it looks like there's going to be more boring side content forced down your throat. It's not side content. I keep saying it's side content. It's not side content. It's more boring requirement that should have been side content before we can get to the next major story arc. We'll see. But, you know, I'm doing my best. We're at 32 hours in and climbing. I'm trying to finish the game. People are saying probably another 2-3 streams. I'll beat it. Thank God. At this point, I really hope what people are saying that the final, you know, 5 to 10 hours are really, really good and nonstop action and there's no more filler. I really hope so, because the filler just kills it. None of us on the stream are having fun, me or my audience. And quite frankly, the only reason I'm continuing to play it is number one, because I paid $70. Number two, because I'm 32 hours invested and I'm not throwing that time away. And number three, because I want to give my final thoughts on this game that I know are going to be very different than all the people who kissed its butt, because it's not a very good game in my opinion at this point. It's actually just gone downhill worse and worse every time I play it. If it was just an anime or an animated movie, it would be fine. As a game, this is a terrible, terrible, terrible game. Okay? All right. So we beat that. Well, we did that. And then on the late stream tonight...
Okay, I'm going to tell you the honest truth here. Phil is going to continue playing this game for one reason and one reason only. He doesn't want to be called a wage quitter. And he knows your boy Doody will call him a wage quitter, because if he quits the game before finishing this, it's mainly, I'm going to say 99% due to the lack of support of this game. Again, I've stated over and over again, if this game was getting tons of support on his streams, he would have actually no complaints whatsoever. He would give it the, oh well, you know, it's okay, it's not as good as other games, but it's okay, it's good, I'm enjoying the story. That he would focus on the positive points. But of course, since support's been trash since the very beginning, Phil just needs to bury this game. And I don't know why. If you're going to continue playing it, why bury it? You're essentially telling your viewers, don't bother viewing this, don't come watch, don't come support because it's trash. And then he sits there and complains and says support's not there. Yeah, maybe if you didn't spend the whole time complaining about the game, you would get some support. You can always highlight some of the best parts of the playthrough. There are some good parts of the playthrough. And what could resolve a lot of your boredom is if you decide to play action mode, Phil. But you won't do that.
It was community night in Street Fighter 6, and we had lots of people competing to jump into the lobby and fight against me. It was fun. Good variety of characters were used. I used all of the characters that I'm used to using, including even Blanca, and then restarted the rotation. But, you know, played about 2.5 hours. Hope everyone enjoyed. Lots of people got in there. For the most part, the connections weren't bad. Sadly, the last match of the night was one of the worst connections, where it was 150 or 60 milliseconds, and it was like, oh, like playing underwater in sludge. And it sucked because it was a good Ryu. And I was like, man, I really wish that this were a better fight, that we were having a better time, because it was just like really bad. Couldn't react to anything. But overall, great, you know, night. I love doing the fan nights. And overall today, support was good. So thank you all. All right. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is my final consecutive streaming day.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to step in here. That wasn't the tune he was singing last night during his playthrough. The man just, every other sentence out of his mouth was support the stream. He actually even said, if you want this to continue, support it. Because to him, if he's not getting the support, it's almost like a day off for him, and he's not earning enough income to continue this. So this is with the first one, I think he made like $80, but then the last three he barely cracked $50 in tips, and support's been dismal for these viewer playthroughs. And Phil thought he was going to get paid for this. People were going to come out, they were going to enjoy it, and they were essentially going to pay him for his time, and they just haven't. So I don't expect these viewer playthroughs to happen much more, especially if support's just not there. But if you watch my video from last night of the playthrough, Phil mentioned that several times. He essentially alluded to, hey, I'm wage quitting if I don't get support for these viewer playthroughs. That's what Phil said. Not those very words, but essentially that's what he said.
I am hoping to have a podcast with no drama tomorrow. That sure would be great, because it depends on what happens tonight. First stream tomorrow is Blanca's Road to Master.
Yeah, nobody cares about that. The funny little interesting tidbit there is Phil says he hopes tomorrow's podcast has no drama. Sure, Phil. Sure. You know, and you love the drama. That's the dirty little secret here, that Phil hates drama and he likes to stay in his lane, and that's a lie. Because if that were true, the very minute LTG mentioned anything or said anything or was being belligerent or rude, Phil would have said, "Oh, all right, whatever. I'm not getting involved in that. That's just drama. I'm here for chill, fun, positivity streams, and LTG is all about drama, and I don't want to deal with it." Did he do that? No. He fed into it. And the funny thing is that he started it. He started this drama by critiquing LTG, and it wasn't just simply a simple critique. He was trashing the dude. He was sneak dissing him. He was trashing him, and he was talking about stuff that wasn't his business, like how much support he gets, money, his layout. That's none of Phil's business. He should have just shut up and kept that to himself. If he wanted to just challenge him to a StreetFighter match, that's one thing. Okay, hey, I like to challenge you. If not, cool, whatever, and then move on. But no, Phil wanted to be belligerent, and then when LTG clapped back, then that was a problem. So Phil decided, okay, well, I can't be seen as a weakling, which he is. I gotta look like the internet tough guy, so I'm gonna rant and rave for an hour on my podcast and leave it like that. And it's just pathetic because, you know, he's acting like a tough guy behind the walls of the Snort Fort and his gated community. Because you know damn sure if Phil was out in the community, he met LTG or he met any of us, he would cross the street and put his head down, because Phil is nothing but a coward, and we know it. And we've seen it in instances in his past where he just cowers. He's a punk. He's scared. He's paranoid. And yeah, I would love LTG to really get into him and challenge him. Really challenge him to see what Phil says, because when the drama gets very intense, that's when Phil backs away. When he feels like, okay, I overstepped, I have to be careful, then he'll step back. Or if, like, say LTG's fans or whatever start invading his streams and giving him a headache, then he'll step back and essentially say, I'm done with the drama, I'm not dealing with this anymore, and then he'll try to ignore it. But I'm sorry, Phil, the genie's out of the box. You decided to be an asshole and rant and rave the last 2 days. And I'm pretty sure this is not over at all. I'm expecting LTG to rip into you a little bit more. And I'll be here to cover it, folks. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.